Only One Kenobi here, only one. I'm filming this on Monday the 24th, and I've just finished doing a live stream with Tim, of the pre-recording of our show, and on Wednesday, that's only one Bosk, the show I mean, and on Wednesday I'm doing a show with Universal Collect. Well, he's not called that anymore. He's called now Zero Hunter Toys. Great channel. It's Matt from USR, and we are going to do a show which is my top 10 Obi Wan Kenobi figures, which I've never done that on this channel. So that's why I thought I would do this now. I'm going to go looking for my top 10, which I kind of roughly know what they're going to be, and then I'll make that a video for my channel. So I think probably when I will release this video will be after the live stream has happened with Matt, which is on the Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. It's not happened yet, and I will leave a link to that in the description of this video. But for now, I just want to kind of look around this room. I know a lot of you like to tour this room, if you don't mind getting flight sick. And I'm going to find my top 10. So first off, I might just zoom in on a couple of strong candidates. This 5 POA one's got to go in there. There's no other Obi-Wans, I don't think, on these shelves here. These are my Tatooine shelves. Over here in the prequels, there'll definitely be some in here. Let me think now. I'm a big fan of, I'm going to have to go up to him. That one there. See that one? That is the action one, right? So you had 3 figures of Obi-Wan. You have this one with cloak. That one's standing without, which I always kind of presumed they were. Look at the back of them, is very yellow. That's just the way they used to be on a shelf. More rigid, as in they were pre-battle, and then they had the other figures which were them in motion, right? And that's that one. That's why I always called it the motion one. It's a brilliant head sculpt, that of Ewan McGregor. What else? There's all sorts of these other ones here. Always being a fan of this guy, although they've reissued him now. Maybe looks a bit better. Down here we've got this. I've always loved that Obi-Wan figure. That's got to go in there. And then you've got this Obi-Wan here as well. He looks really good, that one. Which is the same sculpt as, well, kind of. It's fully articulated. I'll try and find another one. This one here is the same as that one, except he's got hard goods. Yeah, it's this facial sculpt there. I didn't think that was as good a facial sculpt, that, in my opinion, as this one. I always thought that looked a bit more like Ewan, because he's quite sort of pensive in that movie. I also have that figure here, hanging onto the edge of the ledge when he's fighting Grievous there. What else have we got for Obi-Wan Kenobi? That's the prequels, I think, the only ones I really want to mention. There is a Clone Wars figure. That's the original release, which I got from Tungori. They have done another sculpt of his head, which I don't think's that good, really. The improvement's not so good. Whereas I think the improvement they did for this figure is better. I still don't have it loose, though. The one they reissued for Obi-Wan, the Attack of the Clones line. I don't know why that Anakin's there. I'll move him across. That one's also better than the subsequent reissue. Right, then we go over to the original trilogy. Now, I've got loads of favourites here. I'm a big fan of Alec Guinness. And all these are fair game. Got that one. Classic. I only recently bought that, but I had it as a kid. I can't remember if I had the grey hair or the white hair as a kid. They're also bringing him out in the retro collection, which will be really good, because my lightsaber, you probably won't be able to tell, but the one I've got in there, yes, you probably will actually, looks quite bright on camera, but that is a, what do you call it now, a repro. Terrible. Now, the originals always had a kind of a semi-translucent kind of glow to them, you know what I mean? And there's that 5 POA one again. That's a brilliant figure. There's the classic there. I don't know if he'll make the list or not. The classic, Power of the Force 2, but notice that on this shelf here, I've got all Vader versus Obi-Wan, and this one, these work together well, because they're both the Power of the Force 2. This Vader and Obi-Wan here, I love this statue, but I've always had a lot of respect for that figure. Because it was the first time I saw an Obi-Wan in the shops that was like, wow, getting close to screen accuracy. And this one here could potentially be my absolute favourite, because it's the only super articulated soft goods with a really good head sculpt that we've got for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there's one remaining, ladies and gentlemen, which I have never opened. Oh, I do have another Obi-Wan. I'm going for a little tour here. Just bear with me. Please don't get flight sick. Yeah, Force Ghost figures. I've never been a massive fan, but there you've got Force Ghost Old Ben in the Power of the Force 2 style. There is one figure that I really must open, and I'll do it for you now. It is the Obi-Wan Kenobi from Obi Wan Kenobi. So I will go and open that now for you. And apart from that, I think I have basically highlighted all the main ones. Hopefully there's 10 there, and I will probably put them into a line in a moment. So if you stay tuned. There's another Obi-Wan here, but as discussed on a recent stream with Tim when we were talking about our favourite Phantom Menace figures, I've never been a fan of the facial sculpt of that. It needs updating. That the one in 1999 looked better than that. So that's why I have this figure and Qui-Gon facing away. They look great from that angle. So you got the soft goods robes, which I'm always a big fan of, and they're fighting the droidicars, Master Destroyers, the destroyer droids there. So that's the way I have that, and that figure's also much better looking away because he looks like he's a Muppet in the front. Something like a wide mouth. Something doesn't work about that figure. Same sculpt for this Qui-Gon, but I think they had a bit more subtle painting on the beard for that one. So anyway, must get an Obi. If I open this Obi-Wan figure from Kenobi, I might put him on the O.O.K and see what he looks like on that. How about that? Interesting. Thank you for joining me on this journey. It's a little bit of a whiplash tour, but still, why not? You know what I mean? I'm just sort of like speaking my mind, seeing what I find, and I'm trying to get ready for my choices for Matthew's live stream. Anyway, let's open that Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there, welcome back. So, I'm about to open this Obi-Wan Kenobi figure. Please excuse these figures here. These are just kind of like randomly out because I was talking about them when I was reviewing Andor. So, I just thought I'd leave them there. Bit of a background, but still. Yeah, that's that explained. Not ready to put them away yet. But let's get this open first. So, it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the VC245. Yeah, that's right. On first inspection, right. I can't remember what people have said in reviews, but the facial sculpt is not blowing me away. I think they could have done a better job than that. Certain angles, actually, well, yeah, okay, look at that one. Certain angles, right, I'm feeling it, but... And, the two I have, there's so much difference in those, in them as well. I've decided to open this one only because of one tiny, tiny defect. Because they're in such good condition. I think I got them both from Star Action Figures. There's that tiny little... Can you see that, whatever that is there? So for that reason alone, I'm opening this one. But the card back is incredible, as we've all discussed. It is really nice. It reminds me of Jocasta Nu. Just been talking about Jocasta Nu with Tim. And, the figure... Well, I think I probably can see me having the hood over the head of this one. Just because, obviously he looks like that there anyway, but you get the Lola with it as well. I don't know, there's just something about that face. It looks like he's been hitting the bottle or something, you know what I mean? The last 10 years. I don't know, man. Anyway, I can only really figure out if it's good or not by getting it open, you know what I mean? I'll always say that about the vintage collection. You'll never know what a figure is like until you open it. And that is what I'm going to do now. If you just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. There he is. This one I really can't wait to see. I love the robe, man. It's nice. It's a nice tone. It matches what I remember seeing in the show. My feelings on the show, well, there was... Oh, you're joking. Oh, you are absolutely joking. Look what I've just done. I've just broken that goddamn droid. Ladies and gentlemen, be very careful how you take... And unless that's part of it. Or maybe I haven't broken it. Maybe that actually is a joint. I don't know, but... Jesus. That's not a good start, is it? No, I think it is part of it. God, that is so small. It is a joint that goes on it. Wow. Look at that. That is bizarre. God, that's insane. Look how small they can do this stuff now, man. That's insane. Oh my God, have I broken... You're joking. I think I actually have broken this one. I don't believe this. Oh no, I haven't broken it. Oh my God. What is going on? I keep thinking I'm breaking this stuff. Right, that's a ball joint and then that goes on top. There you go. My God, this is bloody nightmare. Whoa! I'm very impressed with how small they can do this stuff. That is actually amazing. I can't believe how small they can do stuff. It's kind of like hats off to them in a way because they can make stuff so small now. I'll zoom in on all of that later. There is also a hilt that you can get. Classic sort of Obi-Wan hilt. Although, oh, I just bent it. Although I remember it being... Bloody hell, that's really bent. I can remember it being chunkier than that. I'm sure the prop he chose as well. If you watch the documentary, he chose one that was, I don't know, man. It was sort of reminiscent of what you saw in A New Hope, but it was a slightly different design. That lightsaber does look thinner. What do you think? Let me know what you think about that. I always assumed that that prop I saw in that program was a really chunky hilt. That looks good though. Actually, that's awesome. That does look, from that angle, that's the angle I had before. That does look like Ewan McGregor, so I might have the hood down. Yep, I'm seeing Ewan McGregor. I don't know what it was before. It was just the way, I think it's from the front face on. No, I can't make my mind up. It's like Indecisive Dave. I'm thinking I am seeing Ewan McGregor now. It just sort of depends on, I think it looks more like him through the viewfinder here when I'm looking through my phone. When I see him in real life, very strange. Can't make my mind up, but that's a very loose head that. It stays on and you can articulate him, but that is, I don't know if everyone's is like that, but if you keep pulling back, it pops off. But it ain't loose in the fact that if you shook that forever till the cows come home, it would never come off. Now, how deep are these peg holes? That's a really interesting test. I don't know how I'm going to have this figure yet. I don't have a Kenobi shelf. I don't know where I'm going to put him. For now, it's just a Ewan McGregor in limbo. You know what I mean? Somewhere between where he was in New Hope and the prequels, really. Unkept, but still. All these accessories, I'll just come down. This is turning into a review of this figure, but I will do that in the fullness of time on my quick shot series. But down here are these accessories, which are quite amazing, really. The lightsaber there, the Lola figure. I can't remember how it sounded, that droid, but it's so tiny. And then here is this Ewan McGregor. I don't know where he's going to rank in my list of 10. I think there's a space for him because certain angles. That is good. From that angle, it looks just like Ewan McGregor. It's got the scowl, hasn't it? He's got a very distinct scowl on his forehead, which is what you saw in that 1999 figure, which I'm going to go and get that off the shelf now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to take these figures off and I'm going to put loads of Obi-Wan figures on, ready for Matt's live stream. And then I'll make a definitive decision of my top 10. Stay with me. Right, man, I've chosen 10 and they're in no particular order yet, but I will go through and put them in order now. But before we do that, I want to show you this that I've literally just done. This is now a figure hack, which I'll put in a separate video maybe. But anyway, moving on, that isn't in my top 10. I've only just discovered it, but still, my top 10 is here. Let me just very quickly go through all of them to give you a good look. They've all got their pluses, they've all got their merits, but I'll try and put them in order now. This one here has just literally made it into the top 10. I'd run out of figures to choose, so I put him in hastily. He's got to go in because it's a really good figure. And I've talked about him already, and I've already talked about him on the shelf. And all these others. Keep in mind, this Obi-Wan you're looking at right now, the Legacy Collection one, is not wearing the Legacy Collection robe. He's wearing a robe that I put on, which comes from this gentleman here. This is, if you're wondering why he's on the shelf, the reason he's like that is because I have him facing off with my Rancor on the shelf there. So I have him looking like that, up towards the Rancor, David and Goliath style. But the reissue of the Jedi, the Jedi lightsaber construction. Is it lightsaber construction, Luke? Yeah, whatever. When they reissued him in the Black Series in 2015, they gave him a more fitted cape or cloak, which is the one I've put on this Obi-Wan. It suits him well better, man. And I've also got the same cloak on this Obi-Wan here, which we'll talk about him later. The cloak he's supposed to wear in the Legacy is like that one basically. It's bigger and baggier. I've got it on that one there as well, and it's on this Anakin here, and again on that one there. So it's a slightly bigger, more ragged kind of cloak, but it should be more fitted. Anyway, that's where that one comes from. So these aren't kind of true figures really in a way. They're almost like customs in a way. Well, there's some elements that I've modified and made better. So in 10th place it is this guy here, and the reason is just because of the fact that the figure's kind of aged, lacks a lot of articulation now. He's yellowed as well, as you can see. But this is probably still, regardless of him being in 10th place, my favourite, or the best they have for Padawan Kenobi Obi-Wan. Something about that scowl. I mean, yeah, it could be it could be updated, but there's something about Ewan McGregor. He looks a bit podgy there, maybe it's aged slightly, but of all the figures they did for him, I thought this was the best. Moving on, because otherwise it'll go on too long. The next one, I'd say in 9th place, would be, this one here. I had to put him in. I used to always display this figure with Luke, the Power of the Force 2 Tatooine Luke, because I quite like that whole thing of Master and Apprentice. If I go up here, I always used to have on the shelves years ago these two together, and to match that, mirror it, I had Luke and Obi-Wan. But the thing is, you never see them together with their lightsabers drawn, do you, in the movie, so it didn't really make sense. But in more recent times, I've had this Kenobi on the shelf with the Power of the Force 2 Vader, and they match, because they're from the same era, and they're over there, you saw them earlier. So, got a new lease of life and love for this figure, plus also, in comparison to the original, look at that. When I first saw images of this, it was in a magazine actually. I never had this figure back in 95 or 96. I got it, in the eBay era. Plus I didn't really buy figures when he came out. But this really does naff. Look at it, the colour of it. It echoes what you see in A New Hope. Got the long thing there and everything, so you know what I'm saying. But on his own, yeah, it's just a modern, updated, really well updated Kenobi compared to that. Although that is a classic. You'll see where he ranks in a minute. Next up, let's pull back and see what we're going to say. I think next I'm going to choose this one. Even though it's a really good figure, it's got good articulation. Look, it's the only one of my Kenobis that can straddle an animal because he's got the ball jointed hips there. The head of this one, I've never been that happy with. It's all right, but he's got like that weird kind of like neck mullet thing going on there. So he looks awesome, and I've made him look awesome by having, again, this fitted robe going over his head. The other robes are terrible. They're way too baggy. I mean, look at that, for example. That's a brilliant Anakin figure, but look at that robe. I have to kind of tuck it behind him because if you put it on him, it just pops up. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Hang on. You know what I mean? Look at that. You get the idea. It's like it's in a wind tunnel or something. So that's the problem with that. So I have made this better, and it is a really good Kenobi, but if he didn't have the robe up, I'd hate it. It's just like, I don't know, it's the shape of the skull, don't know. So that's in next place. After that, so what have we had? We've had 10th, 9th, 8th, and 7th place. I'm going to put this guy, which I do like this a lot more. This is the one of the Revenge of the Sith ones I really like. I'm a big fan, if they do it right, I'm a big fan of hard goods. I think that sometimes really works. I love the sculpt of that. Because there's a lot of standing in corridors and stuff and talking, and Anakin, something is out of place. This is just brilliant for that. He does come with that accessory, which you can have. I'll take that off just to see it without. But I just thought that was a better head sculpt for Ewan in Revenge of the Sith. And then next, at 7th and 6th place, gotta have this one. It's a really good figure. It's got elements of the VC245 clone. Excuse me. But, yeah. I mean, what really annoys me is they have updated this figure, supposedly. And I'm still not that happy with it. Let's have a look at the other one. This is the head of the update. It's alright. It's a bit cross-eyed, him, isn't he? It is better, maybe. But that was still always a great figure. And I always have him pose like that, holding the lightsaber up like that. It's a really lovely, solid tone of lightsaber as well. Really dark blue. And it's a wonderful card back of that as well. I do like this figure a lot because look at that. It is a realistic interpretation of what you see in the Dave Filoni Clone Wars, as opposed to this being the Gandhi. So that's what I like about that. I'm a big fan of that series, so there he is. Lovely articulation as well on that figure, like the VC245. That is in 6th, is it? Let me just go over this. I'm losing count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. In 5th place, I will put yeah, this new one. I mean, it's a great figure. You can't doubt that. But in certain angles, it doesn't look like him. I can't think who he reminds me of. Someone from another film. Looks a little bit like Andy from Hollow Chronicles, maybe. I don't know, man. But from that angle there, it looks like Ewan McGregor. That is awesome. So there's, yeah, man, look at that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But from that angle, I'm loving it. And I think he will look really good with the Vader. And all in the fullness of time, I will sort that out in my own collection. So there he is. These accessories are interesting as well. But yeah, so it's just because it's very new in my collection. I really don't know where to place him, so I'll put him in the middle because he is decent. And look at all this. Look at that articulation there. Top of the torso, like the chest almost. Wow, chest articulation. Anyway, God, he's about to fall over. Those bloody peg holes. He's in fifth. In fourth place. Let's pull back and have a look at everything. In fourth place, let's bring this guy into it. Let's get rid of Luke. We don't need Luke there anymore. Thanks, Luke, for helping us out today. You're probably going to think, what the hell? But this as a duo combo, I love it. That just says to me, New Hope. They could barely move, could they? They weren't as flexible as they were in the prequel era. But they had a lightsaber fight, no doubt. I still think it's good. People think it looks cumbersome, but I thought it was great. Lots of sudden moves. He'd done a bit of fencing in his lifetime, Alec Guinness, but I love that. It's the first time I ever saw a really good Vader helmet as well. But I just loved the accompanying figure. You know, it's got elements of the Power of the Force 2 one, no doubt. It seems bigger and wider because they've obviously, again with hard goods, they've really showed you. He's wearing a lot of robes, isn't he, Obi Wan Kenobi? Don't forget in that film. And this just encapsulates. It's like it's just two old men fighting. Although Vader is a lot younger than Obi-Wan is. And I never got that impression even as a kid. I watched that lightsaber fight and I never thought it looked goofy or silly. People probably might do now because they've seen subsequent lightsaber fights in the prequels when they're dancing around like acrobats. But for me, it was just a sword fight. You know what I'm saying? A sword fight. And obviously he's elderly. But whatever, man. It's classic, that. Loved it. Always liked that. I think, to be honest with you, I like the two of them together. If I got rid of him, no, I still quite like it, you know. Had to fix that though with super glue that broke that hilt. But still, no, I love that. It's old Ben, isn't it? Brilliant. Where are we up to? Second place, is it? So let's go through this again. I'm losing count. My God, what's gone wrong with my brain? 10. Oh, I think it's fourth place. That was fourth, was it? Let's check. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. In third place, I'm going to have to put this one. Although I'd be tempted to have him right in second place. That's too high for it. It's a classic. I had this when I was a kid. I was born in 81. I would have probably got hold of one about 85, which is the very tail end. I'm very lucky to have had the experience of opening vintage 80s Star Wars figures. There's kids out there who are collectors of Star Wars. They've only got memories of this stuff here, opening prequel stuff probably. But I did own classic 80s Star Wars, and that's wonderful. And I used to love this figure. I loved Obi-Wan in that film. There's something really nice about Obi-Wan, you know, like that grandfatherly thing, and you feel comfortable in his presence, and you know he's there to help, and you feel sorry when he dies. But yeah, I loved his his blue lightsaber. I'm looking at that reddish looking cape there, man. I thought it would be matched the plastic. It's a repro cape, that, by the way, and a repro saber, but that's an original 80s Ben that I got on eBay fairly cheap. But yeah, I just loved it. Loved blue sabers and old Ben and everything, so that's cool. That's why he's there. He's coming out in the retro collection, as I said before. In second place, it is this one. This face is probably the best they've ever done for Alec Guinness. Look at that. But come on, Hasbro, where the hell have you been for the last 5 years? Why haven't you given us a definitive, super articulated Ben Kenobi with a fully articulated body? Now, this is a great figure, but just to have him in that one pose is rubbish. Although it works for that. It's that classic scene when he's facing off with Vader. Yes, but still, it would be nice to have a bit more, so that head could do with going on this figure here, which is my number one, ladies and gentlemen. I love this figure, super articulated. Look at that. Lovely use of soft goods to mash it up with the hard plastic. And I dare say, the facial sculpt, well, actually doesn't look as good now. I've just had it next to this one, but still, the facial sculpt is still very good. You know, before this came out, this was probably the best they did for Ben. Pull back the hood, you see, it still looks like Ben Kenobi. Your eyes deceive you, don't trust them, you know what I mean? It's just very well made, but they could do with updating it. It looks better, as I say, with this soft goods cape from the Jedi lightsaber construction Luke Skywalker, Phase 2 from the Black Series. Second issue of him, which is a more fitted cape. But that is it. That's my top 5 for your video, Matt. God, I've just waffled on forever. I'm going to have to do it live on your channel. And I'm going to say it all again, but still, it's good practice me doing this so I know what I'm saying for your show, Matthew. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching that. Stay tuned. Subscribe if you are new. There's more to come. I'm going to be touring this room and talking more about this loose collection. I'm going to reshift it all around and start up the shelf indulgence one more time. Got new shelves up as well in this room. These, I'm really a fan of those as well. Awesome. Thank you one more final time, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Out.